Ann or Tammy, I'm guessing you have the room muted purposefully at this point because at least
Sorry.
there you go.
Sorry. There you go. Sorry about that. I was letting them know the exits, and so of course everyone knows where the restrooms are. Ladies is to my left. You men, you're to my right. Let's see. I think that is pretty much it as far as the action plan. If there's any questions about anything, please let us know. We're here to serve you all. And thank you for being here today. And we will have lunch too, so please stay with us if you like. We'd love to have you here for lunch, and we will have Italian. I think we have spaghetti and chicken fettuccine. Just fettuccine. Okay, chicken fettuccine. Okay, well, pasta. So please stay.
In case of emergency, somebody volunteer to call 911. Miss Tammy.
All right.
And if somebody volunteers just to meet the EMS if in case that was that. But thank you.
Oh, as I said, please make sure you sign in. For those online, please sign in too as well with your information so that we can have an accurate record.
So quick safety share. Let's talk about situational awareness. So far as in the utility industry, we have to deal with the public and being around customers' houses and that type of stuff. Just make sure that your vehicles are marked properly and identified, that you have you're dressed to represent the company that you're working for or representing. If you use any subcontractors, make sure their vehicles are marked properly. So that way the public knows. This day and age, a lot of people are on the edge and ask a lot of questions. I don't know what's going on, and if they don't know, they kind of get a little agitated. So just be sure that you're making yourself seen and identified. We'll start with some self-introductions. I'm Will Prescott with Green Utilities, Damage Prevention Supervisor.
Ann Rushing, Education Manager, North Carolina 811.
Dan Bear, Duke Energy, Senior Locates Analyst here for the Carolinas. Tim Yarbrough, ANSCO, Damage Prevention Manager for the Carolinas.
Brian Judkins, TRC, Damage Prevention for FEMA Natural Gas.
Rob Luttrell, Damage Prevention Supervisor for PNG. Joel Calabrese, Damage Prevention North Zone for PNG.
Bo Turner with Sam.
Lindsay Pont, Sam, Damage Prevention Project Manager.
Mark Worth, Enbridge, soon to be retired. Hey. Mark Holland.
Of operations, Pine Needle, which is a joint venture for Williams LNG facility in Stokesdale.
Marshall Herring, Ops Tech for Piedmont Natural Gas.
Sandra Johnson, Enbridge Gas, North Carolina, Raleigh.
Jason Stover, Transmission Gas Operations. Cambridge.
Tammy Groves, North Carolina 811, never retiring.
Christian Williams Gas Pipeline Operations. Brian Honick, GHL Services.
Paul Jordan, Business Development Manager, GHL Services.
Scott Sherrill, Hyper Networks.
Customer Hyper Networks.
Read those folks that are. Ashley, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, sure. Yes. Ashley Bonish, City of Charlotte DOT, Senior Project Manager. I manage our fiber infrastructure and facilities.
Thank you, Ashley. Brian?
Brian Arrington with MCNC, Locate Supervisor.
Thank you. Caitlin? Caitlin Crowley. Fort Bennett.
There's two pieces, Caitlin.
Hello, yes.
Mine and yours.
Okay, Caitlin.
What's the last two?
Hi, Caitlin Crowley with RH Price.
Thank you. All right, Court Bennett? Okay, Courts with ITS.
And as she calls your name,
Tawana.
you might want to take your mute off.
Tawana Ferguson, if you'd introduce yourself.
She would do.
Okay, Tawana's with Duke. Eric Lochner.
Eric Lochner, manager at Duke Energy, and Tawana is on our team. She's an analyst with Dan, Bear, and myself. Thank you.
Fabulous, thank you. Mr. Panzer.
Hi, this is Louis Panzer, Executive Director, North Carolina 811.
Parrish Raddick. Parrish is our liaison here within the Guilford County area. Robert Yu. Chris Russ.
Hi, Chris Russ, Director of Government Affairs for USIC. Good morning, everyone.
Whitney. And then finally, Zachary Moore.
Hi, Zach Moore. I work on the one call team for TC Energy.
Super. All right. Thank you all.
Get approval for the agenda for the meeting.
Motion. Second.
All business from the last meeting. We threw around some ideas for the 2027 joint conference. We need to get together, get a meeting at some point. Us guys get together and discuss some state we want to hold that on. I figure we can speak after this meeting. You guys want to do that?
Maybe some locations would possibly be Cherokee and Riceville Beach, or something else somebody else wants to throw out there.
We had some people volunteer for a committee to help with the conference. Some discussion around the 811 system so far as the software. There were some bugs that were still being worked out. Is there any update on any of that?
I will defer to Louis. Louis, I know you guys had a recent discussion. Would you like to give an update on Northfield?
Yeah, so obviously, yeah, we had a couple of things happen, and one of the most, I guess, challenging one was getting these unknown facility types resolved. They were creating some confusion out there. We did put a cutoff date in December. We've been working individually with those vendors and members that were not providing a facility type. We finally exercised a cutoff date on that, and we are no longer accepting an unknown as a type. So you should be seeing facility types alongside every member code as far as that goes. The actual, I mean, some of the other things that we're working through right now really have mostly to do with reporting and the LLM, which is our query insight logics. We have that established. That was not working previously because it was pointing to the test server. But now we have it working. Now we're just trying to figure out, in fact, I was in it this morning, the best ways to query to get the answers you're looking for. It's basically an AI, almost like a chat situation where it's natural language. So you can tell it, you know, I want to know the number of tickets for the month of December broken out by type or whatever it is you're looking for, and create a spreadsheet. It seems to be working. It's a little clumsy, and I think part of what we're trying to make sure we understand is the correct way to phrase the questions to get that. In addition to that, we have another tool called the Query Builder, which is more like the standard way we were going after reports before, where we're pulling the data in, um, from the databases, and then you're having to sort of construct through a pivot table the kind of way you want to work with it. But the LLM is supposed to be the more natural speak way. Those of you that are familiar with AI will know that sometimes AI can hallucinate. I don't know if it took too much of the purple acid back in the 60s or what happened, but sometimes AI does not return the information that you're specifically looking for. Part of it's how it's being asked. And we're just trying to confirm and cross-check some of these things. And I've got you privileges now to be able to see that when you log into CenterLogix. And you, me, and Leslie are going to get some training from the developer that's really focused on that at Northfield to construct the queries that we need to be able to ask so that we can socialize that and share that with others. As far as we understand it, tickets are flowing, positive response is flowing. If there's particular concerns that people are still having this day on the 13th of January, please let us know. We do have, like I said, a couple of things that we're working through still with for example, the damage data. We do not have damage tickets flowing into the CGA like we had previously. And we have to get our data from October, November, December batched into DIRT. That will be done on time before the cutoff on the end of February. We're hopeful in the next couple of weeks that'll be handled. So, any questions that you guys have for me in terms of this? And again, the patience is greatly appreciated from everybody who's had to endure the growing pains and the working through of this system.
Do they have a projected completion date for that, Lewis?
For the DIRT damage?
No, for the AI built into CenterLogix.
Yeah, it's available now. It's working now. I just did it here from my computer, but we really would like to make sure we're fine tuning it before people run off into the wild and start counting on what it has to say. Let us construct some queries because I think once we're a little more clear on it, we can provide you templated questions like return in a spreadsheet the number of tickets by county for the month of December, for example. Break down in a bar chart the ticket types for the month of December received by county. We need to know the correct way to phrase it. So before we really get you guys frustrated, let us absorb some frustration, get those things exactly tooled the way they need to be, and then we can start socializing that. And we'll do that broadly once we have those, once we have the queries, the way it's supposed to be phrased, put together here. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks, Tim.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Sandra, I know you had mentioned you had a couple issues that in regards to DigLogix, is that correct? We don't know at this point, correct?
No.
On your tickets, okay. Sandra had a couple tickets that I'm gonna take a look at. Just want to remind folks, if you are using DigLogix, please make sure that you are entering the correct information in those fields. And I'll review those tickets that Sandra gave me, but locate instructions, please make sure you're providing those.
Make sure you're not using your company address for the address of the ticket.
Yes.
I mean, that's where these fields are important. And, this isn't unique to just the system. I mean, I think we had troubles even before where people using RTE or single address ticket would put information in that was bad. Again, anytime you're discovering tickets like that, let us know so we can reach out to those individuals and correct that behavior.
On the tickets that I had, two of them, well, there was numerous tickets, but I only brought two, was called in by Mastech for, they were working on Harding Hill Lane, no cross street, not a lot of information. They did give pedestals, but they weren't even working on Harding Lane. They were working 4 streets over. And the locators couldn't, had issues with them, convincing them that wasn't a good ticket. that we could not, okay, we can't take a ticket and then go 4 streets over and locate. And we've sent people out there twice. And then the other one was just, they called in just the street name and locate 460 feet from the intersection, installing signs. I think that might be an educational thing, and for you, but I felt like it needed to be looked at. So that's
Yeah,
all
and
I had
that's
on.
really important, Sandra. I appreciate that because, yes, I mean, listen, we've had this challenge before. We have our RTE department. We have people that we trained to use the system prior who would do things like put pole numbers down or pedestal numbers. Well, not everybody has access to the records to easily find which pole you're talking about, right? Unless you work for the company. So we've had to do education. That's one of the reasons those folks are employed. We will jump in and try to train people, explain to them the correct way to use the system. And as you bring those things forward, bring them to your liaisons. We'll bring them to the RTE department, and we will try to correct that behavior as well.
And we appreciate that. But like I said, if they call in 1 street and they're working 4 streets over,
It's not
we
helpful.
we want to protect the pipe, but
Yep.
we can't accommodate somebody like that.
Understood. 100%. I guess I have a question to throw out for you guys too on the white lining, because the electronic white lining is available and people are using it. I'm wondering if that's been helpful, if anyone has any feedback on the use of the electronic white lining within the system.
I've got a little feedback on that, Blaine Elliott SDS. It's a great tool for us to use, but none of the locators I speak to seem to know what it is or that it exists or how they see it. Every time I use it, I have to tell them, well, you got to call your supervisor. It's electronically white line, and they don't even know what that means. And that was right away, but also as recent as the last couple of days. So for some reason,
Okay.
They don't seem to see it automatically. They've got to go to some other queue, maybe.
All right. Well, that's going to be that's definitely good feedback for us. I mean, one of the things that, when we launched in October, we knew electronic white lining was available, but we didn't really want to bog everybody down with too much information about the tools or how to use them while we were still just trying to get tickets in and out and positive response back and everything else. But we're in 2026, in it to win it. So right now, we will focus on some specialized training around understanding the tools, how to use them, how to view them, ways to access those, etc. We do want to encourage the use of it for sure. And we are able now to measure with our white lining the method that they chose to provide. So did they say they were using stakes or paint, or did they do it electronically? And what percentage of those white lines that they've told us fall into those categories? So we're going to be monitoring that as well. But this is a great opportunity for us to put together, maybe this might even be a Steve project, put together a little video that just goes over the tools and explains how to get access to them.
Sure.
Hey, can I ask a question on that? This is Chris Russ.
Yeah.
So when we're looking at the map off of the ticket, is the white lining going to be the red dotted line?
There is I think that's correct. I'm trying to remember when I did it testing. It was a couple months ago. It does. You can draw posts. You can draw. You can label things. So it should be. I think it should be giving you some more precise location on that image. That's where the actual excavation site's going to be.
All right. So, and my next question would be, if it's showing that on the digital, will still be checking no for white lining on the actual ticket, correct?
One more time with that, they'll be checking no if they did electronic white lining.
Well, so no, the question isn't on the ticket. The question isn't electronic or physical. It just says white lining. If they are doing electronic, should they check yes, or do they keep that as no? The reason I'm asking is I'm
Yeah.
looking at one now just to see what it looks like, and it says no on the ticket. But then when I open the map, I can see dotted lines.
And I wonder if, and I'm wondering if the dotted lines that you're seeing aren't just the actual polygon that was drawn for the dig site versus actual white lining. Because I think they actually do show up as white lines on the image when they've used it.
All right, I'll have to do some more research because this still has a, I guess you'd call it a your the dig zone that's marked around it, but then there's lines down the road, which is. But anyway,
Yeah.
I'll get more information later. So, sorry,
All
I'm not
right.
taking up the call with this. Thank you.
I appreciate it, Chris.
I'll follow up with Leslie too. She is actually over in the office, so I'll see if she can come over and share with us.
Okay.
Also discussed last week, we were discussing the amendments that were made to the law. Is there any questions regarding those changes?
Just a little observation about it. We were expecting, and I think when we went to 28 calendar days, we were hopeful that this was going to cut down the percentage of update tickets that we would see, because we were pushing 32% prior to the law change. Obviously, October we were at 1% because we weren't updating tickets from September. But then what we saw was in November it went to 18%, which was pretty decent. And I think in December it went to 25%. So I'm wondering, and we're going to be tracking this close to see what the situation is with these updates. And if I'll be really disappointed if we've extended the ticket life and we still see the same high level of updates happening. So that's just a little feedback on that portion of the law. There is that component that says if your work is done and you've updated a ticket, that you can be called out in an enforcement action. So I don't know if anybody's, really pulled the trigger on that yet, but that was also meant to try to force people to really utilize updates correctly and really work their work correctly. I will tell you that volume has gone down, at least in the last quarter, from what we've seen prior. Now we still finished the year up at like 5% over the year, but just in the last quarter alone, we've seen drops for each month in terms of total volume, which provides a little bit of relief, hopefully, for the locators.
Thank you, Lois. We'll move on to the officer report. Only thing I have is, as of today, Greenview Utilities has not reported anyone to the Damage Prevention Board, but we are in the process of putting together criteria for doing so. Also working in joint with the city of Greenville to come up with a damage prevention plan for quote unquote ordinance working inside the city limits of Greenville. So moving forward, Greenville Utilities will be utilizing the damage prevention review board. Jason.
Okay, so for y'all two here. So, our account has, $22,426.03. Till we begin conference planning, I don't expect any charges or invoices for that.
New business. Guess there's an announcement coming for the upcoming joint conference.
Yes, I received an email, I think last week. The joint conference will be held in Greenville, South Carolina. It's May 12th through the 15th, so it's like a Tuesday through a Friday. Still do not have any details other than it's in Greenville, South Carolina. And it will be at a downtown location. I do know that. And so as soon as they provide that to us, we will certainly, send that out. We'll place it on the NCUCC website, along with sending out a constant contact to share that information for everyone. So stay tuned.
Discussion, any issues? You want to bring up?
Yeah, I think just the usual stuff with, screening and craft. If we can fix all that, I think we'd be in a whole lot better shape. But that's why, I don't know if anybody else has any problems with that too, but, Google Charter. We have a lot of problems with them screening stuff and trying to figure out how to get the ticket closed.
Speaking of Google, we did have an instance that I'm dealing with USIC on. There seems to be a batch of tickets, maybe a few tickets that were transmitted, and it was determined that they were transmitted, and they're showing transmitted, but USIC has not received those tickets. And so they're working with Google to determine those. So yesterday we just retransmitted one. So there seems to be some sort of issue, but it was just a core group of tickets. And to my knowledge, everything is being transmitted at this point with no problems. It was a period back in December, maybe a day or so. So we're following up on that. And we'll keep you up to date on that. If you have any issues, please let us know. Google does use Boss 811, so it is an issue on their side, not on the transmission for NC 811. Brian has his name. Brian?
Yeah, I just want to let you know we were having issues with that also. We will be getting receive 3-hour notice tickets and never receive the original ticket. I can get a list of those ticket numbers for you, but it's becoming more apparent every day. We get at least 2 or 3 a day now.
Is that from them being screened out prior to? And
no,
then
we don't screen tickets.
No, but I'm saying for you to receive them, you're saying you never saw the original ticket, but then you just saw the 3-hour?
Correct.
From Google?
No, they've been from random contractors.
Random contract. I'm just trying to understand if it was help me out here. You're a locator or?
Yeah, I'm the locator manager, and my locators are getting 3-hour notice tickets that never saw the tickets. So I'll go back and look at the audit trail, and we never received the original tickets. And I've talked to Cortera about it, and they haven't received that ticket either. So it's not getting to them to be transmitted to us.
So Brian, yeah, let's get offline after and get some ticket numbers and see if we can maybe track down what the issue is.
Okay. Thank you.
What is Boss 811?
What is Boss 811? That is a vendor. Yes.
Yeah, so they have a ticket management system, which then receives the tickets, then they process them, and then would be using that to post positive response back or transmitting those tickets back out. So that's similar to EarthNet or Locator Logics or those kind of products that are ticket management products.
Any issues?
They used to be able to, when doing 3 hours, you saw the positive response inside the 3-hour request. You no longer get positive response in your 3-hour request. Has that been discussed?
You gotta hit print. Is it print?
So what are you viewing it in? Are you viewing it in Logics? Okay. So when you bring the ticket up, it should give you, the original ticket, and then it should give you the 3 hour, and you got to click on that particular one.
Right, and when you go to the ticket and you hit 3 hours,
Uh-huh.
we used to always say, AT&T, it would say either marked or not responded to, it was to tell you what deposit, so you knew which ones to
Yeah.
click. Now it doesn't, like, you have to go to that either other page, or you gotta go to Big Logics to, check deposit response to see who's responding.
I think you get text and then hit print and it'll show it at the bottom thing.
I'll certainly get offline with you, walk you through it to see if it's, just some.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can pull it up in other places, it's just not, it's not being pulled up inside.
Yeah.
Which, where it has always been inside, when you're going down through there, you're clicking the ones that are still red, and you bypass the other ones, otherwise, now you gotta have two screens, you gotta like, all right, which ones were, so, it seems like a little convenience that we lost.
Okay.
And I think what's happening, because I know I've got my guys doing it, now they just go through and click everybody, because they don't want to have to go back and have multiple pages open, and they get, they ain't taking that extra few moments to say, oh, no, it looks like Spectrum cleared, but they're just hitting everybody, sending.
Yeah, it should be on that main page though for Center Logics for that ticket. That,
I don't know if it used to be or not, but it's not there now.
Yeah. And everyone told me what their response is.
okay. All right. We'll get offline and we'll take a look at that, Blaine, for sure.
All right, we move on to reports from individual entities. Anyone from the DOT? C811.
Yes, all right. So I can get it started here. All right, so once again, we're here for our state UCC, and of course it is January 2026. How fast this year's already moving along. I just want to remind everyone that we do have our annual notices coming out via email to update your member information by January 31st. Those will be going out to those contacts for the data update. So please update your information, including your maps. We want you to stay as current as possible. And if there are any questions, either reach out to Leslie Brouillard. We do have her email as leslie@nc811.org. And of course, if you have any questions, we're happy to assist in communicating with her as well. So once again, if you're having any issues, let us know. There are some new processes, and of course, any of our members, you would work with your member facilitator. Moving on with our upcoming meetings, so we are here today for our state UCC. This Friday, we will be here in Greensboro for our NC 811 board meeting, and this is also our fourth quarter and our annual meeting. So we'd love to have you that Friday morning at 8:30 at the Embassy Suites by Hilton over here in Greensboro. The next meeting will be next week. We will host the January 20th Underground Damage Prevention Review Board. It will be held here in the Greensboro office, here in the event center where you're at today. We will be meeting with our review group on Monday to review simple cases that can be reviewed by a group of 5 and then will be placed on the agenda as a consent. So these are very simple cases. It could be that the complaint was made that there was no locate. And so we'll review those cases. And if there's 30 cases, then those will be on the consent. And we will hopefully move those meetings along a whole lot quicker by having a consent agenda. The next meeting will be the following day on Wednesday, January 21st, the NCLRPC. I will be getting with Dan offline after just to discuss. As Lewis mentioned, the reporting right now is going to be a little bit different as we are trying to navigate, gaining some of that reporting. So as Lewis said, our discussion will certainly be about the updates again, as they were 1%, in October, increasing, and then now up to 25%. And I know we had been, I think, around anywhere from 31 to 32%. So we really want to try to, to reduce those. So we will be meeting here on January the 21st. Anything on that, Dan, that you want to mention?
No, it's been a while since we've actually met, so yeah.
So we did postpone our last meeting just due to the fact of, not having the reporting that we usually had. So we pushed that off to January.
So why do you want to cut down on those updates?
Well, certainly, Tammy, since you're one of our liaisons in the Mecklenburg area, I'm going to toss that over to you.
Thank you. I thought you'd never ask. So for those of you that might not be aware, your utility operators pay a fee for every transmission that goes out that their name is attached to. So if a transmission goes out and Piedmont Natural Gas is named on it and Enbridge is not, Piedmont is paying a transmission fee. If the same were true vice versa, if Enbridge was listed and Piedmont was not, then obviously Enbridge would pay that transmission fee.
So as Tammy said, there's that financial cost, but then there's that burden to the member. So if the excavator is not planning their work, and in hopes now that we have a 28 calendar day ticket, then hopefully you can resolve your work within that 28 calendar days. And that certainly is there to help the locator.
Yeah, the true cost is, there's a transmission cost, but it's like 50 cents. The true cost is actually physically people going out to have to locate, and when they, keeping them from actual work that may be taking place, that instead of work that either is completed or hasn't been permitted yet, etc.
I'm going to kind of stop right there for a second because we do have Leslie that just stepped into to the event center. And so Leslie, I want to pose that question. I think Chris, you're on the call. They are asking about the digital white lining. When the digital, two questions on the digital white lining, should they check that they've white lined? So that should be yes. So that's not going to be confusing in the field.
It shouldn't be confusing in the field because if they have white lined it out in the field too, then in addition to the white lining on electronic, then it's going to capture both. But if they're not going to white line in the field, probably it would affect the counts that we have now. So probably I wouldn't select it if they are electronically white lining.
Okay. So as Leslie mentioned, it's a good practice if you are digital white lining to not check it. Just for the counts, because that could skew that there is physical white lining. As far as the way it looks, Leslie, to the locator, can you describe what that will show up on their screen?
Should show up as a grayed out little line, black line, little box. I don't have any ticket examples with electronic white lining on it that I would have received. No, that's the dig site polygon.
So the red
inside of the dig site polygon white lined, and anything coming through Dig Logics is not white lined. They don't have the capability to white line in Dig Logics. So it's only going to come from tickets that were done through Center Logics.
Did everyone hear that digital white lining will only be able to be used through Center Logics? Chris, you mentioned a red dotted line. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I sent Leslie an example. Yeah, it's, the few tickets that I've looked at, it's got like a red dashed line. And I was wondering if that is considered virtual white lining.
That is usually the line that they actually drew in DigLogix to make the polygon. Which usually if they get a direct hit, then the system does it. The only time they would draw it manually is if it didn't recognize the area that they wanted and they went and drew it in there manually.
Does anyone have a screenshot or anything?
So to clarify, that dotted red line don't mean anything.
Well, not necessarily, right?
But it doesn't necessarily mean that that's white lined. It's like I said, if the ticket came through DigLogix, then they didn't have that capability. So that's going to be what they actually selected in the map if they drew it themselves.
So otherwise, if it is digitally white lining, it's going to be a grayed out area. And that can only be done through CenterLogix, Chris.
But that will change, and DigLogix will be able to do it as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the first time I'm actually hearing that you cannot do it in DigLogix, so I'm going to definitely follow up on that.
Thank you.
How will the locators know if it's been digitally white lined?
Here's an example.
Start sharing since she's in.
Says she online where she can share.
They have to go over there to the camera, but,
She can join the meeting and share from her phone.
so
So where do you find this? This
was how it comes across to the excavator, but then that would be how it comes across to the member as well.
Would it be as a
What I said,
hyperlink?
you just said that earlier.
okay.
You're good.
So it should actually show the physical white line though, correct?
We got that email from Stephanie. So
This one?
the second one.
So let me share this. So, okay, so once again, Leslie, can you just walk through this again? This is done through CenterLogix, correct? Okay, so this is a CenterLogix ticket that was done through that platform. And I'll let you explain it. So
Well, that's just where they are telling the excavator or telling the members that that's where they're going to actually work within that dig site polygon. So they'll put the dig site polygon around it, but the white line says this is the actual areas that we're going to actually work on. Okay. And it will notify the members based upon that as well.
So Blaine, you said that you had done this, correct?
Yeah.
Reviewed it.
Locators, most of them don't seem to be able to view it from whatever screen they're getting their tickets from. I had one say, oh, well, I gotta go to a different page to even know. Like Scott was just saying, there's a check down that says white line, yes, no. There should maybe be a second box that says electronic white line, yes, no. That way, if they see yes, they know to go looking for it. Otherwise, they would have known to go looking for it, and they probably would have been looking on every ticket.
Because the checkbox is probably going to be where they indicate that they white lined it in the field. That's why I said earlier, if you electronically white line it, probably wouldn't check that.
So we'll follow up and, try to answer that question on how the locator would find that within, I'm assuming it's their platform, their software platform that it could be.
There's a
Okay.
link. There's a link on the ticket.
There is, okay, so they need to click on their link, okay. So.
So, question for me, is electronic white lining acceptable, or do they still have to go out there and physically white line?
That can be your white lining.
But you're not able to,
If you cannot adequately describe,
but if I'm not able to see that, like the Core Web doesn't support that, I'm gonna, if I go visit that site, I'm gonna be calling somebody, right?
so once again, the digital white lining is to be utilized so that you're not having to white line in the field. This is your white line. So if you're not
I rely on white line to see whether or not you're crossing my easement.
correct,
So if Core Web, the thing that I use doesn't support that, I'm gonna be calling somebody because there's gonna be no physical white line on the ground when I get there.
well, it should be able to support it because as Chris stated, it is a link that will take you to the map to show you where their white lining is.
But to help clarify maybe his question, currently the law doesn't require white lining. We pushed hard for that, but we were not able to
It's
do
not
that.
mandatory.
Right, but that will be coming if we can get this to work.
Yeah, that was the purpose. So we have included electronic white lining as a means to white line if you cannot adequately. So it's kind of a placeholder. It's still, the law doesn't 100% require it unless you cannot adequately describe it, but it opened the door to include electronic white lining so that once the excavators and everybody in the community was familiar with it enough and satisfied with it, that we could then make it 100%, that every single request would be white lined in some way, either electronically or physically.
Any other questions on that before we move along?
So I do have a question about the near ticket. On the near ticket, can you check the positive response without having to write down the ticket number and going back to CenterLogix to type the ticket in?
I've not been able to do it, Tim.
So there's a couple things that we're addressing. You know, our team is looking at some of the issues with the with the near ticket, because it does bring up a lot of tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're trying to formulate a list so that we can give that back to Leslie to provide to Northfield.
Okay, all right.
So it's there, but
But you don't have to go back to the CenterLogix, and you can check the response on the DigLogix ticket actions page.
You can from the near ticket app.
You would have to write it down, but
Right.
then you don't have to go back to CenterLogix, you can go back to the DigLogix ticket actions page and do the check response.
Okay.
so just remember, even near ticket when it was in the old way, you could check positive response, obviously. It was only to tell you who was digging nearby. So you never had access to see that. One of the things that we were looking at is, just making sure that you still have the adequate information of, who's digging nearby.
Mm-hmm.
Get back to. All right. Okay, so Leslie, thank you. Sorry. Stop sharing. See if I can get back over here and get back there. I know, right? All right, so our holiday schedule, this is our 2026 holiday schedule. I would encourage you to go out and go ahead and place these holidays on your calendar so that you will know that all these holidays are excluded from our 3 working day notice. Anything that has an asterisk, it is denoted as an observed holiday. We will be open to accept all those locate requests on that day, but it is an observed holiday. And it is excluded from the 3 working day notice as well. So once again, if you do not have that, this list is also on our website as well. Just want to kind of give you kind of an update. This would be our 4th year at the Dixie Deer Classic. I went ahead and left this in here. We have spoken with that group with Dixie Deer, and we have a possibility of not being able to vend this year because of the 100+ people on the waiting list. But if we do, we are partnering with Enbridge, and we certainly hope that we will be out at the NC State Fairgrounds February 27th through March the 1st. So we'll let you know by the end of the week. So first of next week, we'll know for sure whether we will be in attendance or not. Fingers crossed. That is one of our largest events that we do throughout the year. All right, so moving forward, once again, here is a QR code that you can scan and will lead you straight to our calendars here. We have both an NC 811 calendar. Those are events that, we have going on throughout the year that you could or could not attend. And then, of course, our NC UCC, if in the past, we still struggle with some of your email systems, getting our constant contacts through. So I would encourage you to use these calendars to know when your next UCC meeting is. As Lewis mentioned, as you see here over in October, November, and December, our ticket numbers did certainly drop compared to obviously the same time last year. And of course, we know why, certainly, and that is with our new software system and of course the 28 calendar day ticket too. So with that being said, here in December, our ticket volume was at a reduction of 12.4%. We landed at 177,332 tickets. As you see up at the top, our year-to-date landed at 2,955,915 tickets, and that is a 5.4% increase compared to 2024. When we look at our transmissions, same, but we actually reversed. We had an increase in our transmissions. December, 1.2 million, so we were up 13.4%. And then overall for the year, 10% on transmissions, landing at 16,684,000. Any questions on those? All right, so moving forward with our dirt damages, as Lewis mentioned, we hope to have that resolved and have our damages, certainly moving up into the dirt data. Currently, we had 990 damages that were reported during December. I did provide you the top 10 here with Wake leading in December with 135 damages, MEC 113, and you can kind of see the others. Here we're in Guilford, you're within that top 10, Durham with 86. Of course, Pitt, I know, Will, you're over in Pitt. You guys led the bottom of that along with Catawba County, Union County, New Hanover, so Johnston County with 51. Just, this is where the damages are lying. And of course, these are only the ones that are reported to NC 811. We know there's obviously a whole lot more out there.
Is there a correlation as to ticket volume in that area, in those areas?
Well, from those damages, we can pretty much, when we talk to the UCCs, we can pretty much tell, obviously there's a huge influx of work over in Durham. And we've heard, even through Enbridge that there's been, quite a few gas cuts. All right, so when we break it down over a course of the year, as you see that, other than really February, the damages have increased month over month. Once again, here's our team. Certainly, if we can help you guys in any way, we're here to serve you. thank you for all the questions that you've asked about, the software. We are all learning together as this is built out. So I would encourage you to be patient with us, ask your questions, and we will certainly provide you answers. And of course, as those questions come, that leads back to, trying to make the software better, to serve you. So we appreciate all your feedback. Any questions on our presentation or anything else for Leslie while she's here?
And I missed the total number of damages that you reported. Just the overall, not any particular one.
The total number of damages that were reported for 2025 to NC 811 was, well, that was 990. Oh, here we go. 15,641. 15,641. All right, I'll turn it back over to you, Will.
LRPC?
Nothing really additional here. It sounds like we will be having the meeting here in a couple weeks. A couple weeks, isn't it? Yeah.
Next week.
Next week.
Next
Yeah,
week.
wow.
Next
Right
week.
around the corner. So,
Yes. And
yeah, first one in a couple of months here. So we'll just see what happens.
Question, do you have any Brightspeed representatives that show up?
So,
No. Mm-mm.
all are encouraged to come though.
Right.
Yes.
State regulators, Utilities Commission, OSHA, Department of Labor, electric and power companies.
As a little plug for Duke, I mean, just for damage wise, I just pulled for the year here. It looks like we're slightly above from 24, but for the state, best I could gather, right at 3,600 damages incurred for the state of North Carolina in 2025.
I'm sorry, how many?
Right at 3,600, 3,594 is the best number I can get, but
Okay.
trying to eliminate all the non-digging related stuff and everything, but yeah, right at 3,600 for the year for the state. So quite a bit. You wonder why ticket work doesn't get done. That's scheduled. Well, we have to update a ticket or whatever. 3,600 reasons why. But as far as work wise, definitely will be the same, if not more, from as compared to last year. A lot of work going on with all the data centers and stuff. Having to supply them and everything, and anytime like a big data center or something's built, that's a big, it's a heavy lift for the utility to power them. So, other than that, nothing more specific that I'm aware of.
This acronym. NCCJRP.
Yeah, so that's the regional, sorry, that's, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Louis.
No, that's the regional partner, Common Ground Alliance. So basically, quick update on CGA items. We're still working on trying to get, I'm co-chair of the data committee. We're waiting for that end of February deadline for people to submit before we can start doing analysis on the national picture of damages for the CGA. We'll be commencing that. They are having a conference in Colorado at the Broadmoor in April. And that would be, encourage folks to go there to get involved with those committees. They don't do virtual hybrid committee meetings as far as at the live event, but they do provide committee meetings in the interim between these events that are virtual Teams meetings. If you want to get involved with one of those, highly encourage you to do it. There will be the various committee meetings between now and then, including data, also One Call Systems International, best practices, those education committees. So if you're not a part of the CGA, or if you're CGA curious, as they say, go out to commongroundalliance.com. Look into what the events are that are going on in terms of committees and that, and encourage you to take part in that. And those of you that are going, we'll see you out there. We will be presenting the good, the bad, the ugly of the October law and software rollout here. That's one of the presentations on tap. So come see your home team in action.
Engineering design.
Hey, this is Robert with CES Group. Sorry about the audio issue earlier. Real quick, we got a lot of work, from Asheville all the way to the coast, and want to kind of point out a couple things that we're trying to work for a couple of reasons. One, trying to build some relationship with the technicians out in the field, as well as the efficiency that Lewis touched on, without trying to pepper the system with a bunch of design survey tickets. So in the last couple of weeks, we've had some dealings. Our team has some dealings with LineQuest, USIC, and the folks that are also USIC located in the gas. And what I've informed our team is to avoid these 5, 6, 10, 12,000 feet both out of the street by calling in, exorbitant amount of tickets and being mindful of the resources. That we are calling in a ticket and then setting up a quick 30-minute pre-con to get kind of some idea as to some things that that may be in the area that can help our team to complete the quality level 1 and level 2 SUV surveying work. So that's been very helpful. I know it's saved on one project in Greensboro, probably at least 6-7 hours worth of locates, especially on the ones that we're actually doing test holes. So for those that's here with USIC, whether it be LineQuest, whoever, just if you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call. I did drop my contact in chat, as well as just encouraging the what we're trying to do to kind of streamline the process without just inundating with a whole bunch of design survey tickets. That's it.
Thank you, Robert. Anyone else, engineering design?
I do want to bring to everyone's attention in regards to design. Currently, right now, if you are utilizing that DigLogic solution, you are not able to do any survey design tickets on that solution. So either you would do that as a RTE user through CenterLogix or by calling the center requesting that. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Equipment manufacturers. Excavators, contractors.
And I can say for ANSCO, we're looking for a big year coming up here this year and all. And I know there's a lot of government funding out there for more broadband and all. And I would imagine that there's other communication companies out there that's probably going to be putting in a lot of work as well. So I would anticipate a pretty big ticket increase this year.
Yeah, actually just saw and read a couple articles, in regard to charter. I know they've got a lot of RDOF going, and I think over in Anson County, all that area, they're hitting that whole rural area within the state. So I think it's like 22,000 homes. So, and that's just them.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much statewide.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Insurance. Locators or locate companies. Gas companies, gas pipeline.
reporting some damages for the year, not individual company names. I'm not doing that. Just overall, for the year of 2025, we had, in our gas facilities, 1,780 damages. For the month of December, we had 110. For the year, 11% of all the damages based on overall damages. 11% of the damages were natural gas related. The damage per thousand rate for the year, last year was 1.84. This year, a slight uptick to 1.92 damages per thousand tickets. So that's the target was to be under 2. We hit that. Okay, but it's not as good as last year. Just to let you all know. In December, the number one root cause for damages was a no call to the one call center from not homeowners, contractors. The number 2 root cause was locator issues, and the number 3 was excavator dug before doing a pothole. They didn't see where the line depth was. So those are the top 3 damages. 2 of them involved the excavating. Just to report all that. So what do I get out of this? Spot your lines. Make sure you know the depth. Call in so you can get your lines marked. And locators, just try to be a little more accurate to help the contractors do their work. That's what we got here. The number of tickets that were in the state of North Carolina this year for locate for gas, 927,488 locate tickets for natural gas locates. So.
Toward the end of the year, middle of October to December, Cardinal had a pretty serious uptick in misbehavior by contractors. A couple of them were after the second or third update request. You go out and the work's been done, and one of them was rather egregious that they had actually blind board across us in Gilbert County. To me, that is insane that you would be willing to do that, but they did. I guess in their defense, somebody there had a locator and they had actually marked us. Our pipeline was marked. They went there with their locator and they had written in the road the depths that they picked up. And I know it was going right beside my marks that I had made. I think Chris can probably speak to this too, but I think we have taken a stance that we're gonna have our internal people start contacting folks as well. We're leveraging a couple of folks, Eric Reinhardt, Tyson Hacking, to actually, and they might call, even Tyson might speak with 811 as well, or North Carolina entities. To me, I just don't think the severity is out there. I think everybody sees that thing, that marker post, and they say, oh yeah, that's one of those little 3-inch lines, 20 PSI. I don't want that on my watch. So I take it very seriously. So the last one I did involve Tyson on it. I can tell you, and Chris can correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that we have the liberty to force a contractor to come there and dig that up at their expense so that we can make sure nothing was harmed. I hope, honestly, I don't want to see anybody get in trouble or have to pay a bunch of money. I honestly hope that it doesn't come to that, but I don't mind them. I mean, we don't know what happened if you weren't there.
Has it ever been explored? I know I've talked to the city of Charlotte about it, having stock digs and spotting be part of the permitting process where you have to give a utility crossing plan as part of your
We
state
actually,
permit?
if you're coming there, and you're gonna cross us, you will follow our line. And most of the time, I'm gonna ask you to hand it, you're just putting in a simple crossing. And I can probe my pipeline for you and find out how deep it is. If it's, I can tell you now, if it's less than 6 feet deep, you hand dig it. I don't want that, I closed the taps on a rupture. I don't want that happening in the middle of in the middle of Wake County. That's not good. So yes, we do require.
Well, I know
If you're
you,
gonna-
I know you require.
If you're going to, as part of North Carolina, I don't know, we require it. Because if you're going to expose our lines for some reason before you start digging, you will follow.
Well, yeah, I obviously understand you require it, but the problem is require it and they're ignoring that and not doing it.
Oh,
So I'm wondering if you can approach it from the permitting side, that you either have to permit revoke.
We have to be on site.
Right. Well, I know, they're not calling you out there to begin with, so it's easy to ignore you, but at some point, that scope of work got planned.
I think
And a lot of times when we engineer a project, we engineer in there where our core drill is gonna be. That way, when the state shows up, because often core contractors will have a permit for it, but that don't mean they have approval to cut the road and spot lines. So we engineer them into our drawings so that the state sees it.
I believe the human condition says that's gonna cost a bunch of money, let's just act like that pipeline ain't there, and that happens a lot. That's also another reason that I want to leverage using Chris. And I mean, he don't want to talk about the times I've called him saying, WTF, dude, this just happened. But I enjoy that I have him, I'm glad that I have him, he can leverage our people like Tyson. To say he is a stronger voice than mine and say, hey, we need to be talking to North Carolina. We need to see if we can get North Carolina to do what you're talking about. But I don't expect, judging from my 30 years of being a pipeliner, I don't think that.
Definitely see where you're going with that. It's something we should probably be looking at. That's an opportunity for us. But I do want to, Corey, do you have anything to add for mainline? Anything you want to say?
They have more issues than we do because of their role and everything. And we just have to stay on top of it. We rarely ever, well, I say rarely, we never get a response back. If I respond, critical facility not marked on site required, nobody ever contacts us back. We always have to make the contact to the people calling. Never have I seen a response.
And I have asked, when put exactly that question to Corey just stated, I have asked contractors on site when I get there to help them. I said, you see that ticket after you put it in? What ticket? The ticket that was called in for this job. I didn't call the ticket in for this job. My boss did. Did anybody tell you what would have to be? No, I mean, you called us. I would say I'd say 1 in 10. Somebody calls me back and says, hey, I got this message. That's a rarity. I have to stay on them, calling them. And it makes it very difficult to get anything done when I have to take a chunk of my day separated to be on the phone trying to get, because they're not, I mean, unless I just ride around waiting for them to show up. And I've said it many times, we can't clone people and the world don't want to with me if they could. So I look at it like I need to do better. I'm attempting to do better. And my attempt to do better is I'm going to involve the people that I have, that like Tyson and Eric and Chris and Joey, and Justin, to speak louder for me because they can get better attention than I can. But I mean, I'm concerned. I'm very concerned and this is, I mean, it's probably not good in this form. Okay, fine. I wouldn't tell this to just a regular person because I wouldn't want them to know what goes on or be scared. But when I get a ticket at 9 a.m., I see it come up on my computer while I'm doing my 811 dig request, and it says Spectrum, Tough Irons Drive, bearing from this to that, from there to there, and I say, ooh, that could cross me. I've got a tap line there, 4-inch tap line with 1,000 PSI on it, right in front of a freshly built house that I happen to know has a young mother and father with a brand new baby in it.
And I go there, and this person has not only crossed that 4-inch line, but they crossed the outlets at Piedmont at our meter station. Just sewed it right in there. And when I called him, he says, well, we only went a couple of inches in the ground. How do you know, who told you how deep that was? Or that, I mean, I assure you, and I tend to go to these three people know me well. I tend to go to the dark place because I've seen this. That 4-inch line ruptures in front of that house. If that mother and father and child are in there, they're not going to make it. That is a given. They're not going to make it. And then I got to go home and lay down and try to sleep after that's happened. But I call the guy and say, what are you doing? And he tells me Spectrum expects this done in a certain amount of time. I got 3 days after I put the ticket in. You didn't even let the ticket clear. The work was done. They did the work, and then they called in the ticket. Honestly, that's what happened.
Do you have easement right away, or is it that what, road shoulder or something?
Do what now?
Is that are you in an easement right away there?
Yes.
Y'all don't require like an encroachment license for all crossings?
I don't have my hearing aid.
I see. You guys don't require an encroachment license for?
We require an encroachment agreement when there's going to be like a big project, like a subdivision or something like that. We handle it without that. Just a simple crossing is a simple crossing. We're on site. We manage the crossing. We put it into our record keeping and move on. It works when people obey 811.
Our process is kind of like what you said. I don't care how little it is. You're crossing my transmission line. You're going to submit an encroachment request. And you're going to give me some plans, stop digs. I don't care how small it is.
Well, we will allow you to blindfold under our pipe. We have a procedure for that. Follow the procedure, no problem. But I understand that there are things that you have work that you have to get done, but doing something that can kill other people makes no sense to me. That is willful disregard for not just for the rules, but for the safety of other human beings.
I'll add to a little bit about what Jonathan was speaking to. We do have a review process and a letter of no objection process that we follow. Simple crossings like Jonathan's recommended, we typically handle that in-house. More complex ones, we go externally and we get all that documentation. So yeah, the simple 3-inch, drop a fiber line or something like that.
Which is how we used to operate as well. We just stepped it up a little bit because, we decided everything's going to have an encroachment license.
That's what we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just sort of round out from the Williams point of view, Jonathan speaks of Cardinal, the lot of activity on Cardinal. I think it'll continue into 2026. As far as Transco, the main line, continues to see about a normal activity, I would say. I'll add that Southeast Supply Enhancement Project, SSE, it's been out there a lot in the news and just different social media activities. But that project is expected to be approved. That's what we're hoping for. We are waiting on that final approval from FERC. But once we do get that final approval, that work will kick off probably looking around the March timeframe. So a lot of increased activity within our existing right of way once that approval is received.
The mainline B too, right, Chris?
Yeah, we do have some thank you, Justin. We do have some mainline B replacement in our area as well. That's going to be in the Guilford County, Rockland and Guilford County areas. You're familiar with the Oak Ridge area. Going to be some work there as well. Basically, some take up and be.
I believe, Chris, the work on 540 should be winding down. 540 in Wake County should be winding down this year too, shouldn't it?
But if so.
The movement of this should be the last time that they have to deal with it.
I only have one more thing to add that's off topic, but so for Enbridge, our Dominion Energy emails are about to go read only by the end of the month. And I'm still having to, even though I've got an automatic email on my Dominion that says, here's my new address, people are still using Dominion Energy. And I know it's listed on here too, we gotta get it fixed, but, if you're contacting Dominion Energy folks via email that are now Enbridge, try to make sure you're forwarding that over to the Enbridge email addresses.
So I'll get offline with you and try to figure out the best way to update these emails, because it's, in the past, it had been really simple, just change the extension, but it sounds like your emails, some are,
When we changed from SCANA to Dominion, they kept us live for 2 years.
but it was easy to say it was, Jason.Stover, but
Mine's staying the same, 95% of them are,
It's not the same except
Same.
instead of,
just Enbridge, okay.
there are a few differences.
Okay.
mine's like Sandra Johnson, instead of at Dominion, it's at Enbridge.com.
That's tough, we keep getting bought, but.
We'll try to figure out the best solution at these UCC to collect and update that data.
Okay.
And you said that was through when? I'm sorry.
January 27th.
Oh.
Yeah, it's happening fast.
Okay, so January 27th goes.
I will tell you, we'll still be able to, it's read only, we won't be able to respond to anything, and we won't be able to forward them any longer, so that's the problem, so.
Oil pipeline companies? Private water? Public works municipalities? Railroad? Cable TV, telecommunications?
And for you, Scott? Sure.
Emergency services? Local UCCs?
Wake County is going to have their first meeting of the year, the last Tuesday in this month. And it's going to be at 11 o'clock. And I'm going to provide lunch. And just step it up a little bit. Our next state UCC will be at our office. And we're providing lunch that day also. That's going to be the second Tuesday in March. And then the last Tuesday in March.
Pitt County, we had our first meeting last Tuesday, and had good participation, good turnout for the first one of the years. Ours is the first Tuesday of every month.
Excuse me, this is Mark with Enbridge. We do have a new damage prevention manager. That is Louis Negrin. He is located in our Apex office. That's Louis.Negrin and Louis, Luis, Negrin at Enbridge.com. I have his phone number, but I left my computer in the other space, so I don't have his phone number in front of me. But just the whole, we will be studying and learning a whole lot more about damage prevention through his. He's got a full-time job. It was just part-time for me. Oh, his cell phone number, good job. Area code 919-621-9052. And I've asked Tammy to add him to the distribution list for this meeting.
Next meeting will be March 10th, the Raleigh at the Enbridge office in Raleigh. Thank you, Ms. Ann and NCA 11 for hosting this meeting. Thank you all for being here, but nobody has anything else.
Any of you folks? Nothing?
Hey, I will add that Williams, more specifically Compressor Station 160 in Rockmont, going to be doing a full-scale mock drill. Not necessarily damage prevention related, but we are doing a full-scale mock drill in April of this year. If anybody interested in some details, I know sometimes folks like to feedback from our exercise or anything like that, and reach out to us, and you can contact me directly, chrisdiddy@williams.com.
I'd like to about that being April Safety Month, maybe something we can get the folks involved in. Super. Yeah, anybody?
Anyone online have anything to add? All right. Thank you all for being here.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.